Good morning, everybody. Once again, welcome to the final event of Odeon project. Before starting, I would like to inform you that the event is being registered, and at the end, we will share the registration with all attendees and, of course, all Odeon partners. For a welcome, I am pleased to give the floor to Dr. Anna Franco, who is representative of the Transnational Cooperation Office and National Contact Point of Interreg Mediterranean at Veneto region. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Nice to see you. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So, good morning to you all. And thanks to the organizer for inviting me in this event. I bring you the greetings from Anna Flavia Zuccon, the director of my unit. Unfortunately, she cannot be here with us today because she is fully involved in drafting the cooperation programs for the 21-27 period. My name is Anna Franco. I am the regional representative for Interreg Med program, and I am happy to be here for the final event of Odeon. In fact, I was there since the beginning. I was in Padua in 2018 for the communication seminar, and I had the opportunity to meet someone of you in person. I was there when the Veneto Data Hub was launched. I was there during the lockdown last spring, attending your online events and witnessing your adaptability to quickly switch from analogic to digital. And finally, I was there when SMEs, startups, Fab Labs being part of your innovation labs designed, prototyped, tested, and produced products and services useful to fight COVID-19. After this long introduction, I have no more time to speak you about our achievements in Interreg. Let me just say that Venetian beneficiaries perform well in Interreg at national level, as you can see from the graph, also outside from the Interreg Med program. This interest from the territory led us to establish a specific team devoted to maritime cooperation and maritime themes. It puts together the representatives from Med, Adrian, Italy, Croatia, and user macro-regional strategy. We are working on a database. The dataset is not open, indeed, of possible partners for your future cooperation projects. So keep us in mind when you will start designing your next project proposals under MED or under other maritime programs in 21-27. Very briefly, some other figures. Veneto region attracted 33.2 million euros from ERDF to Venetian beneficiaries in projects linked to the Mediterranean area, and 6.6 out of the total were funded by MED. So you can measure how valuable the cooperation is for our territory. Oh, now the ugliest slide, but it is also the most important. The importance to create synergies between Interreg programs and synergies between Interreg and mainstream. When I say mainstream, I say regional operational programs, is clear in the new regulatory framework for the cohesion policy in 21-27. The Odeon project is a good practice in this sense. In a horizontal bar showing the passage of time, Odeon is synergic with Homer, a project funded by Interreg Med in the 7-13 period. In the vertical dimension of time, the Odeon project is synergic with DEAS, another project funded by Interreg Alpine Space, also dealing with open data, and where Veneto region is the lead partner as well. This is the virtuous way to realize transnational cooperation among member states. also without forgetting the pre-accession countries, of course. In fact, the result of these cooperation projects don't stop to produce effects at the end of the project itself, but they go beyond the project lifetime, and in the better cases, they feed the soil for a future project. Moreover, Odeon is a precursor of the times because it has already concluded the embedding process. Embedding means to fix something firmly and deeply in a surrounding mass. The Odeon project embedded its results in our regional policy on open data. In fact, a specific call for 7 million euros from ERDF has been launched in order to fund new open innovation models in Veneto region. So good job, guys. Now the question is, what will you do to further spread Odeon results in the 21-27 period? MED program is working in these weeks on the future cooperation program. A set of elements has been agreed so far between member states working in the so-called programming committee. There will be enough room for social innovation also in 21-27 period. And more interesting, there will be a new generation of projects, the institutional governance projects, devoted to fostering liaison activities and strengthening coordinated working approach at the transnational level, and implement mainstreaming processes as well as favor conditions for policy changes to improve the Mediterranean territorial cohesion. So I'm expecting to see you again in the future MED. I will not steal any more time from you because today's agenda is very interesting and rich, and I would leave room to the other speakers. But before telling you goodbye, I want to remind you that in 2020 we celebrate 30 years of Interreg. When you will receive my slides after this event, you will find a short video from the European Commission hidden in the text to describe 30 years of successful cooperation across borders. So thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a good job.
Thank you very much, Anna. Very interesting welcome. Now from the Italian part, we go to Brussels. We are really pleased to have as a speaker in this final event a representative of the European Commission, Federico Milani, because Odeon event is the final event of the project, but as Anna stressed, we are also at the beginning of a new programming period. So what are the perspectives waiting for us, and what will be the strategy of the European Union about data?
Thank you very much. I'm trying to show my presentation. I don't know if you see something.
Yes, we see it.
Okay. So just briefly, thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Sorry, Federico, there are black boxes around over your slides, covering some parts of your slides.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know how to remove it, to be honest. I was trying to do it. Okay. But I'm not able to remove it. It's the part that is coming from Zoom, and I don't know how to do it. So if it is okay for you, I will try to move it around where there is no part written. So as I was saying, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me, because it's a sort of, for me, coming back home this year, that I will not be able to come back to Castelfranco from where I'm coming from. I left Castelfranco when I got a degree in engineering in Padua quite a long time ago, and then I left 30 years ago, and then I left for Europe, first England and now Luxembourg, actually not Brussels, because we are sited in Luxembourg. So as it has been mentioned, I'm the deputy head of unit of the data policy and innovation unit. And so we are responsible for the definition of the European data strategy for data and following its implementation. But as you can see, we are not, it's not an action that it's involving only one unit, because it's so big that it would not be possible to be managed by a single unit. So let's move to the next slides. What is the European data strategy? Well, and what is the vision of the European data strategy? The vision of the European data strategy is to create a common European data space, therefore a single market for data. So what we want to make sure is that all the data that is created in Europe will be shared, and everybody will be able to benefit from that data. In fact, what we can say is that the data, we should try to go for as I was saying, a European data space where data can flow within the EU and across sector, where there will be availability of high quality data to create and innovate, where however European rules and values are fully respected. GDPR, values as privacies and confidentialities of data, and fair competition should be respected while sharing the data. And then another point that we want to make is that we want to make sure that there will be rules for access and use of the data that are fair, practical, and clear. And there will be clear data governance mechanism in place. So how do we manage to achieve that? How we will be able to achieve that? We have structured our strategy in 4 pillars. The first one is for creating a governance framework for data, which includes a legislative framework for the governance of the European data spaces, and especially identify cross-sectoral measures for accessing and using the data. We've got also a pillar that is focusing on investments. And what we have announced is that we would like to build and to have a high impact project for 4 to 6 billions, where the European Commission will invest 2 billions in creation of European data spaces and a federated cloud infrastructure which will support the processing, the storage, and the usage of such a data. We also are looking at competencies. We know that it's more and more difficult to find data scientists, artificial intelligence experts that will be able to use that data and that will be able to exploit that data and innovate with that data. And so what we are looking in is to find ways in order to support and upskills the workforce, and also to support the creation of new masters and initiatives in universities to really promote the figures of data analysts and data scientists. And finally, we want to roll out the common data spaces in crucial economic sectors and domains of public interest, looking at data governance and practical arrangements. So let's move a bit more to what we are doing and what we have announced. For example, for the legal framework. The first things that we have announced, and actually we managed to deliver the 25th of November, if I remember properly, it's the Data Governance Act. On the Data Governance Act, what we are want to tackle is the issues of making easier to share data, but where the data sharing is voluntary. So we are not enforcing anyone to share the data. There, our major stakeholders and who is addressing to the Data Governance Act is the public sector, the businesses, individuals, and also researchers. So what we want to do is to make sure to make that it's easier to share the data, but in a controlled manner. So again, that's in such a way that we can build trust in data sharing, that we can ensure interoperability between across sectors, but also that all the values and rules specific of Europe will be kept and enforced. Yesterday or 2 days ago now, we also adopted the Digital Market Act, which has got an influence because also in the data strategy, because it has got links with the functioning of what we call the gatekeepers, or the digital gatekeepers, so major organizations like online platforms that sometimes has got a control over a specific sector and might limit the competition, existing competition in specific sector. And what we are trying there with our proposals is to regulate so that competition in those sectors where we have a major online platform will be assured. Finally, my unit is also working on the implemented act that has been part of the requirement for the Open Data Directive, where we are asking public sector to make accessible high value open government data to be accessible and usable for free and in a machine readable format. And finally, again, since we do not have anything to do, as you can understand, we are also working on the Data Act, which is something that will come a bit later on, where we are going to look at the issues related to co-generated IoT data in from industrial and industry, and also how to promote the access by governmental organization to data held by the businesses. Well, the two examples that I can make here is on the co-generated data, everybody is driving a car, and more the car is producing data. The data is usually it's stored and held by the manufacturer, and it's difficult for the user of the car to get access to the data. And even if he gets access to the data, it's not clear what he can do with that data. Can he transfer and share it with other third parties, for example, to repair the car, or to improve his use of the car. And this works for an individual, but also in farmers would like data for their farmers would like to have the data for their for improving their productions, and also industries would like to have the data produced by the machinery that they are using in order to improve the productions of their factory. So this is the point, and there we are going to look what we can do there. And then there is the other aspect that has come out also with the pandemic and the COVID crisis, which is more and more public administration to work efficiently needs to have also access to business, to data held by the businesses. And there, again, we want to see if there is a possibility for doing something so that this access will be done in an easier way. And a clear example there is what the Commission has done, that has asked the various telecom providers to provide data on the movement of persons, so that a study could be done in persons and the spread of disease. Let's move quick, otherwise it's for major
Dr. Milani? I cannot hear you anymore.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes. Could you please repeat, because we lost...
Yeah, I saw. I lost the connection. Can you see the slides?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Not yet.
So let's start again. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, now
Okay.
we can see them.
So I'm sorry, apparently I've got problems with. So have you heard about the Data Governance Act? Or should I start from the Data Governance Act?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. So the first point of the Data Governance Act is actually promoting the reuse of sensitive data by the public sector bodies. So the public sector bodies, for example, hold a huge amount of data that it's not easy to disclose. Let's think about, for example, the health data. Now, what we would like to do is to promote such access. And there are already member states like France that has set up in place systems where a researcher can access those data, although those data needs before to be anonymized in a way that the privacy of the patients will be preserved. So the point is there is try to do exactly to have a common approach for access to this type of data among the various member states. And this is the main concept and the main initiatives that we have launched. And what we are requiring to the member states is to have an access point where a researcher that would like to have access to this data can refer to in order to have a response and have a solution to access those data. We have then, we want also to support the new emergency of a new figures, which is the data intermediaries. We have already example in Europe of data intermediaries or data brokers, which are just creating a link between the data provider and the data users so that the data can be found and can be shared easily between the data holders and the data users. Of course, what we want to do, since we want to create a framework of trust, is that we impose that any organization that wants to be labeled as data intermediaries in Europe will have to respect a number of rules that will imply transparency on how the data is shared, but also, for example, we ask that these data intermediaries will not have the possibility to exploit the data, but only just to make sure that the data is going to be used in an agreed manner, and the data is and the data provider will have the security that the data is shared only to the organization that they wish to and for the purpose that they would like to. The third pillar is covering the issues of data altruism. So you've got more and more, and in our public consultation, we've seen that there are a lot of organizations and also individuals that would like to share their data for purposes of general interest. The example would be, I don't know, I've got a specific illness and I would like to share my data, my medical data, to researchers that are studying and trying to find a cure for that specific illness. Or another more simple way and less controversial would be the fact that I'm living in Luxembourg. Luxembourg would like to improve their transport systems and ask how to share, ask data on how the people are moving. And if I'm willing, I would like to give my data so that the municipality of Luxembourg will be able to use the data and how I'm using the public transport in order to improve the public transport systems. This, for the moment, is extremely difficult, and to find a way to do it. It's easier to donate your body and your organs because there is a structure in place than to donate your data. This is why we want to again promote the emergence of data algorithms organizations that will take in charge of this different way of allowing again organization to use their data for the general interest. Finally, what everybody says is that there is a difficulties in when we are sharing data in defining standards and interoperability and solving those technical issues in order to allow sharing between data providers, between sectors. This is why we are going to establish a European Data Innovation Board that will support the Commission in order to identify those issues and provide where possible solutions in order to solve this major problem. Another aspect that I was mentioning was the fact that we are working on the implementing act for the high value data sets to identify a list of high value data sets to be made accessible. That one is part of the Open Data Directive, which has been adopted 1 year ago. Yeah, it was in 2019, where it is a recast of the PSI directive, where in there we introduce a minimal set of rules to make more data from the public sector easier and cheaper to use. Of course, in the Open Data Directive, contrary to the Data Governance Act, we are looking about data that are accessible, already accessible, and that is not protected by third party or intellectual property rights, contrary to the Data Governance Act. So you can see that there is a clear complementarity of the two legislative instruments. And again, here what we are going to do is to move further and to ask further to the public sector information to make their data publicly accessible. On the high value data sets, what we are being asked by the legislators is to identify in the 6 categories that are there: geospatial, Earth observation, meteorological, statistics, companies and companies ownership and mobility, a number of high value data sets that that the member states will have to make accessible for free and in a machine readable format, so that small medium enterprises that would like to use that data will have a easier way to access that data. And this is, as I was saying, with something that we are working on, and that it's planned, the proposal of the Commission is planned for next year. Finally, as I were mentioning, we are looking to support the creation of a number of data spaces. And here I have put the data spaces that has been mentioned in the European Strategy for Data, where you can see that we are covering a huge number and different number of sectors. And what we are going to do there is to support the creation in 2 parts. The data layer, let's put it in this way, where we are going to support the data providers to make accessible their data, and the data users as well to share that data by creating these data spaces, which are a concept. It's not a platform, but it's more a concept where data will be shared, and there will be different approaches to share the data. Could be centralized, it could be totally distributed. And then we are also working on the technical infrastructure for the data spaces, where we have already initiated quite a lot of work on the high performance computing. We are working to create a European cloud infrastructure where data will be stored and processed in Europe. We are also looking at an edge infrastructure, because as you know perfectly well, the data will be more and more moved to the edge. This is done within the Digital Europe program, that probably you know, which has got a number of initiatives. Within that, there is the creation of digital innovation hubs, the high performance, the artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and advanced digital skills. Within the artificial intelligence, we've got a number of activities which are focusing on the data spaces and the artificial intelligence part. And there you can see what we are supporting. But there is not only the Digital Europe program. The Commission is working, and there is a number of programs, funding programs, that in our opinion should work together in order to achieve the ambitious objective of moving to a more digital economy and society. So as you can see there, we've got research, as you probably know, we've got the Digital Europe, which is the implementation, but we've got also the CEF for broadband rollout and connecting the different communities. We've got Creative Europe, Health, the Cohesion Fund, the Agriculture Funds, and we've got, I'm sure that at least in Italy, you've heard about it, the Recovery and Resilience Funds, where again, the member states are preparing the various projects that they are going to fund. And some of 20% of this budget will have to be focused on digital projects. And this is where, for example, investments in creation of data spaces, in opening up data, in using data could be fall in, and there it's a call to the various member states to take into account of this activity. And then they are going to be also InvestEU. I think I gave a broad overview. Sorry, it took longer than expected, but I finished with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Really very interesting. I'm asking you if you can please send your presentation so we can share it with the participants. Is there any question from our attendees?
Actually, I have a question. Can I?
Please.
Good morning, Federico. Thanks for your talk.
Good morning.
I was just wondering how much of what we have has been done, let's say, during the last 10 years in the context of research data management in Europe will be somehow, let's say, reused, or it will be a kind of, let's say, a source of inspiration for what you told us today, and the future of, for example, sharing e-government data and other kind of data. Is there any comment you can tell us about, for example, the initiative about the Open Science Cloud and similar?
Yeah. So, well, of course, everything, well, my unit is also responsible and has been responsible for a number of initiatives under Horizon 2020 on research. for data sharing and data analytics. So all the projects of the private-public partnership of the Big Data Value Association has been followed by us, and there will be for sure an input, and has created the technological development and the technological basis in order to move further on the deployment through the Digital Europe program and the other initiative that I was presenting. So we are trying to continue to work together with the same communities so that there will be a technical infrastructure that will be reused and used. We also worked, we are responsible, for example, of the open data, European data platform, as it's called. So again, that work will continue, and we will work together with the various public organizations to make accessible that data. What we are trying to do is to expand this work and to make it converge into the vision of creating a European data space. So we will keep an eye, and of course, we will look for contribution of the major stakeholders to work together and towards this vision.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alessandro Mosca, you are already on our screens. I invite you to explain us what you are doing at Smart Data Factory and how can people make business with open data.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Are you able to see it?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, so
yes.
What's up here? Why I cannot move back? Sorry. This is Keynote mess. Okay, so yes, I mean, thank you for inviting me, first of all. It's the second time that I meet you guys from the Odeon project. So last spring, I told you about initiatives and activities that are mainly from a public body based here in South Tyrol that is called Neutech Park. While today, I want to actually introduce an experience and a journey, let's say, I did with a small consultancy company that is based in Barcelona, Spain, that is called Series Academic. So in particular, I will tell you about the, let's say, the rationale and some technical detail, not too much, about the development of a platform for accessing and integrating open data in the context of research and innovation policy making. The platform is called UNIX, original for University Analytics. Okay, so just a bit of a few milestones about this project, this UNIX project that I want to mention. I moved to Barcelona. I joined this consultancy company in 2014. 2 years later, actually, we had the opportunity to be selected by Odeon. That was an incubator for open data entrepreneurs across Europe. So it was not a big deal, but actually this gave us the possibility as a small, super small company to start thinking about a business model centered into the exploitation, let's say, of open data. It was a 6-month project and 100K euro of funding. So indeed, actually, in fact, we succeed in defining this business model. And in 1 year later, actually, we have been able to present publicly in the Toscana region, La ricerca toscana va in scena, politica in azione. That was the title of the event. We presented the Toscana Open Research Portal that I actually will tell you more in the next slides. In 2018, actually, we got another project, Italian project, was a PONGOV project to export to 5 more regions in Italy the best practices that we learned from the Toscana experience. And then, okay, we move further. We got more contract with other, mostly public subjects, let's say, public bodies, but also private bodies that are interested somehow, that are involved in funding research and innovation activities in their territory, such as La Caixa Foundation in Spain. Then the last milestone I want to mention is the fact that part of the work that we did behind, let's say, that is behind the design and deployment of this Unix platform in 2020 has been integrated into an initiative by the Agency for the Digital Italy, Agenzia per l'Italia Digitale, and it became, let's say, part of the resources that everyone can actually access through their website. So here is a bit of a context. So I told you we are talking about a consultancy company. These are the problems. So we were facing regional government, policymaker from higher education and research institutions, or for funding bodies. And to make the long story short, basically, what they were looking for evidences to take decisions. Okay, so instead of actually taking decision on the basis of intuitions, they were somehow facing the problem of collecting data and information to take informed decision. So just to give you an example, the regional government in Toscana, for example, and not only in Toscana, but also in other countries in Europe, they were interested in analyzing or having a picture of how much, let's say, their funding activities, the local funding activities, were somehow aligned with respect to the smart specialization strategy activities and the fund and actually the way the budgets were spending there in that context. So they were looking for specific, I mean, they wanted to cut this picture across thematic areas. They wanted to look for which were the actor in the territory receiving this money along the years, let's say. I don't have time actually to go into detail for the rest, for the other two subjects, but let me tell you that, I mean, the traditional way a consultancy company face this problem, deal with these issues, is to create very nice reports. So very nice PDF documents that provide the context. They analyzed few, let's say, KPIs that are of interest for your clients, and that's it. So the reports stay there on our desk, on the desktop of your clients. And the main drawbacks with this approach is quite clear. I mean, the reports get soon obsolete. Another problem is that actually the number of analyses that you provide in the report based on the data that you collected is fixed. So the client cannot actually change, perform new analysis on a PDF. Okay, so it has to stick with the number of analyses that have been somehow decided at the very beginning of the report writing. And actually, if you want to overcome these issues, there is the major problem is that you need to collect more and more data. You need to have increasingly more information, and you possibly would like to have this information in a more efficient way. So in a way that is more effective, let's say, than just collecting them manually from websites or other reports from other subjects. And here I come to my problem. This is really my problem, is what I'm doing as a researcher in the university. I deal with data management. So the problem at least actually in the research and innovation sector is that even if the data are said to be open, let's say, they are still fragmented, they are heterogeneous, They comes actually for separate sources that do not interoperate each other. They follow different definitions. So what I want to stress here is that data are fragmented not only from a technical point of view, but also from a conceptual point of view. So you might find actually data talking about the same domain, but described in a very different way. And then, so basically, I summarize this problem by using the term silos, or the silos approach. So data are in silos, they do not talk each other. So if you want to merge them, if you want to integrate them, if you want to access them, you have to have quite a lot of technical knowledge, because you need to access different databases, you have to extract the data, you have to combine the data back, put the data in another database, and this usually ended up in creating new silos and new silos. So we started thinking about how to overcome this problem from a technological point of view, and we ended up actually with the idea of building a technology that would be able to, let's say, integrate different formats, different data formats with different conceptualizations. A technology opens, let's say, not something that is closed like the PDF report, but something that is open to acquire more data in the future, more sources, more information, and a technology that would be able to talk about the vocabulary of the policymakers that we were, let's say, working with, and not the vocabulary of the IT expert behind the relational, structural, non-structural, semi-structural databases. So the solution we decided to explore is what we call the virtual knowledge graph systems. So here I put a very, very high level architecture of this system. It looks really easy and actually intuitive, and it is like this. So at the very bottom, you have several data sources. These data sources are mapped through mappings to a global, let's say, conceptualization of the domain that we call, or global, let's say, conceptual model that we call ontology. And then on top of this ontology, you can build data visualization, data analytics. You can provide the tailored, let's say, data access point to your stakeholder, in our case, our policymaker. So which is the added value of this virtual knowledge graph system is that they are somehow agnostic with respect to the variety and complexity of the data sources. So I have experience of applying this kind of systems and technology to very, very, very different domains, from static data to stream data, from, unstructured data, relational databases, and so on and so forth. Then another major added value is the fact that this intermediate layer that we call the ontology is basically a model of the data specified in the vocabulary of the final user of the system. So the final user of the system can actually forget about the technicalities of each of the data source that is going to be integrated. And then, okay, you can combine in a semantically, let's say, transparent way, the information that you integrated in order to create dashboards or more, let's say, useful specific solutions that can help the decision makers. So here is a little bit more complex, detailed, let's say, architecture of virtual knowledge graph systems. This is what we deployed for the Toscana region years ago. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you see a bunch of open data sources that we integrated for them, from Instat, from MEF, from the European Commission, of course, the Cordis portal, the European Patent Office, but also unstructured data coming from Excel, PDF, and also legacy data, because in that domain, the research and innovation domain, I mean, our clients were interested also in exploring, in combining, let's say, and accessing data from legacy data sets, such as this corpus bibliographic data sets that I think you know very well. So one interesting point here that I want to focus on is the central point of the slide. You see there is a label, there is a logo called On Top. On Top is the system that you actually use, is the engine behind this virtual knowledge graph. On Top is able actually to manage, to exploit these two major components that are the ontology, the global conceptual model, and the mappings. So here I just put a few information about On Top. On Top is a system that is freely available, is a product, let's say, from the KRDB Research Center at the University of Bolzano. And now it became actually the product of a spin-off of the university that is called On Topic. So what about the ontology? The ontology is something that looks like this. I don't think that I have to explain too much about this to you, to the audience that we have today. So we have a bunch of concepts there, here in the left-hand side with yellow bubbles describing the domain of interest, and these concepts are somehow related to each other by useful relations. So this is the artifact that we used to somehow cover the domain of interest, okay? So to make the long story short, the Unix ontology, the one that actually has been integrated into Ontopia project that I mentioned at the very beginning, these are the main module of this ontology, okay? So you have organization, you have a module talking about projects, research outcome of the projects, and also of scholars. We have modules about students and patents, and then some contextual information coming from statistical agency in Europe. Of course, I mean, the ontology has been developed in order to be interoperable with other similar initiatives. Here I mentioned two of them, Eurocris and Vivo Ontology. They actually, I like to mention them because a lot of universities all around the world are actually providing data to the outside according to models that have been developed in the context of these projects. So the Vivo ontology is one of the models, and then there is the Serif model that comes from this Eurocris project. Most of the Italian university, for example, they use this Serif model nowadays to publish information about their students, the staff of the university, what they produce, the publications, the patent, the awards, and so on and so forth. And now, I enter into the, sorry, I clicked the, I clicked the link. So how can I resume? Okay, sorry. Okay, I have no time to enter into this detail. So just to tell you a few things about the other main component of a virtual knowledge graph system, that is this mapping assertion. So the mappings actually provide a way to define bridges between the data sources that are at the bottom level and the ontology, in such a way that the user can actually query the ontology, look only at the ontology, and forget about, I just say, as I said, the details and the technicalities that are in the data sources. I will leave you actually these slides, so you will have time later to have a look at them. Just let me mention a few, let's say, examples here, a few examples. Some of them are password protected. So these are dashboards that we developed on top of Unix, let's say. So Unix was the underlying core that we used to deploy and to sell also, because that was the real life, to sell this dashboard to our clients. There is one specific example here that I want to mention, and I will tell you later, that is this Unix portal at the bottom right corner of these slides. But okay, if you are interested in some of them that are password protected, just contact me and I will see if I can provide you an access to them. So this is the Toscana Open Research Portal. This is freely accessible on the web. You can go there, you can play with the data that we integrated them. As you can see, there are different modules in the portal. There are modules devoted to teaching and research staff, students, but also performances of the research universities and research institutes in the region in terms of attracting funding from outside. From outside, I mean outside of the region, but also inside. And okay, we collected a lot of, let's say, of different data sets in order to build this data visualization. One interesting thing here to mention is that each of these data visualization that are interactive, of course, here you see them, all of them are static, but you can play with them. You can actually filter the data. Each of these data visualization is complemented with a button that you can use to download all the data that are behind the data visualization. So if you want to change the visualization, if you want to do different analysis, if you want to combine this data with other data, you click the button, you download the data, you can do whatever you want with them. Okay, let me move forward to another example. This is our Unix portal. So I don't have time actually to explain why and which is the rationale behind and the philosophy behind, but as a private company relying on open data, we somehow decided at a certain point to release all the data that we were actually collecting, cleaning, integrating. So that we thought that this actually will not affect too much the business of the company, but instead, on the contrary, we actually provide more visibility to our business, to their business, because I'm not there anymore. So that's the good news. So you can access this Unix endpoint, where here you see a bunch of data sets that are integrated there that you can query through what is called a Sparkle endpoint. Sparkle is I didn't mention that all the Unix platform is actually based on existing standards by the W3C consortium. So we are fully aligned with what we call the semantic web technology. We use RDF and OWL and all these technical things that I cannot actually talk about here for time reasons. So this is the Sparkle endpoint. Here you see 2 queries that you can execute through the endpoint. The first one is about ERC project, so that is about data coming from the CORDIS data sets by the European Union, the European Commission. And again, on the right-hand side, you look for institution. I see their location in space. You can query for the funding they received, the number of participants, and of course, the interesting part of the story is that you can combine this data with other data. So we can combine this data set, the data coming from CORDIS with data coming from Eurostat, for example, or from, let's say, other data sources in order to, let's say, make them more interesting and insightful for the decision you have to take. This is my timer. Stop. Okay. So when you access the Sparkle endpoint, in order to query all these data sets that are there behind, there is a documentation of the ontology that I briefly mentioned before, and that you can see here. So basically your Sparkle query in this case will be built on by means of, combining bricks that are terms of this ontology and relations in this ontology. So all the documentation is there. is open, of course, is available. Otherwise, we will not be able to query the system. Okay, my last message is that I started working at CIDIS Academic in 2014. We were 6 employees at that time, with a lot of ambitions, a lot of dreams, and no money, basically. So I left the company in 2019, and we were 35 employees, with yearly revenues of about 2 million euros. So the company is still growing. They are hiring new people. They are getting new contracts. So even if it was a demanding journey, the fact to build this system, because building such a system was not easy, and it's not easy actually to adapt the system to the needs of the new clients. So every time you have new issues in front of you, new, let's say, requirements, it's an effort somehow that you have to spend in order to meet them, to understand them, and let's say to find a solution for them. The good part of the story, let's say, is that the more you move forward, the more, let's say, your basis grows. Okay, so this Unix platform is constantly growing. It's constantly integrating new data, and so somehow it becomes a little bit easier to deal with this, to deal with new needs and new requirements. Here are a few, let's say, clients that that CIDIS Academic has been working with, and it's still working with. I leave you. And let me just finish with this. I mean, we have just, let's say, listened to Federico Milani's talk from the European Commission about the fact that, I mean, data and data exploitation and data publication, it's something that is at the very core of the policies of the European Commission, and that we will see more and more and more of on the future. So to me, let me stress, I mean, I want to stress the fact that this is an opportunity also for business, from a business point of view, and for 2 main reasons. Because you have more and more data that are going to be published in an open way. Here are some examples. And there is also somehow a kind of mandate, political mandate, that sustain actually the development of this process, and that would be, let's say, and that will push more and more towards this data publication and data reuse initiatives. So I think I can stop here. Sorry if I run a little bit out of time. This is my couple of links to the Unix portal and my website, and I'm glad to listen your questions, if any.
Thank you very much, Alessandro, for this really interesting presentation. I like the fact that you are using the data, but you are also publishing open data.
Yeah, it was I mean,
I have just one question, Alessandro.
Yes.
I'm just curious to understand why you started this entrepreneurial experience in Barcelona and not in any other Milan or any other location. What is the added value of Barcelona?
The short answer is by chance. Let me tell you that, I mean, the partners, the founders of the company are one from Italy, one from France, one from England, UK, one from Germany. So we ended up living in Barcelona for, I mean, a lot of different reasons. I love that place. They love that place. So, and building a company, actually, a small, medium enterprise in Spain, is quite cheap and it's easy. But we didn't have any idea at the very beginning about Unix or building a business. So we didn't start having this business model in mind. It was really by chance. We were looking as a consultant, not me actually. The founders of the company were working as a consultant for Sorbonne University in the context of one of these IDEX projects. That is huge project about merging different research institutions and universities. So they were acting as consultant for them, and at some point they were very happy. The clients were very happy. They said, "Okay, now we had to pay you," but they were whole scholars in the university, so they were not entrepreneurs. So there were no way actually to get money out of the work that they did. And so they decided actually to found a company for that reason. And from there, in 2 years, we got the Odeon awards. And I mean, I moved there and I started pushing for the technology sides, and basically that is the story. So it was an opportunity. I think that we had,
Thank you, Alessandro.
we got actually, we had in the right place at the right moment. And
but I asked for that because we have one partner that is located in Barcelona. Loa, I think she's online, and as far as I know, she worked with some companies that are dealing with open data, but I don't know if she get in touch with this entrepreneurial experience. Loa, do you have any idea about that?
Hi, Alessandro. Hi, Roberto. This is Loha from Kim. Yeah, we have been working as partner of Odeon the last 2 years with some basically small medium enterprises who are interested to work on open data. We are working closely with Generalitat.
Yeah.
And the open data set that they are actually offering. Yeah, we didn't have actually, Roberto, unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to work with series and projects that they are working on. But now that I know Alessandro, for sure, I'm going to approach him, and we will find some ways to collaborate with each other.
Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, actually, I participated in the project with the Generalitat, with the department dealing with the smart specialization strategy. So we built this dashboard here. I don't know if you see my cursor. This smart specialization S3 monitoring tool, because they were interested actually in building a monitoring system for their policies in that context. So yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, there is a lot of data available, and the problem is that there are few companies which are interested actually to exploit them, and this is one of the main challenges that the Generalitat is facing. Not only Generalitat, most of the public data that is available nowadays, we know that there are challenges in exploitation and using of data.
Yeah, let's keep in touch then.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Alessandro. And this is one of the best results of Odeon project and of our European projects. A project is ending, but new opportunities, new cooperation ways are being born. Now I am inviting the next speaker, Duccio Schiavon of Quantitas company, because this emergency we all are living in has really brought to the big public the importance of data. And Quantitas company has been working on data also with our regional government. Please, Duccio.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me in order to introduce you Quantitas as a small enterprise and that makes business using open data. You have to forgive me because I didn't prepare any slides for the occasion, but I would use our website in order to make a presentation of our activities. So I share my screen. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes. Visual
Okay.
survey and gamification.
Okay. Well, Quantitas was born in 2014 as an initiative of a group of people with very skilled experiences in many fields. So you can consider us as a group of data scientists that would like to create products and services to locate on the supply chain of the data value providing features. We have expertise in all the activities coming from the extraction of the data from big repositories. We have expertise in data cleansing, data treatment features, data modeling, data predictions, modeling, creating of predictive model, and at the end, one of our major business, our major field of expertise is of course, the data visualization and advanced reporting words. The fields in which we operate are both for the private sectors and the public administration sector. We help companies to analyze their data. We operate in predictive maintenance fields in order to extract and treat IoT-based sensor data. We operate with open data in order to create open innovation partners with some of our institutional partners. We collect and analyze big data in the tourism sector, and we are involved in some important clinical research projects. Specifically, we are involved now in 4 Horizon 2020 projects. One is dedicated for the virtual and holographic system for the supporting of the people with vestibular problems. One is dedicated for the development of some smart glasses in order to make some benefits in working environments. And the other two projects are conducted with the collaboration of the Ca' Foscari University in order to analyze big data in tourism sector with the intention of produce some guidelines for the touristic sustainability patterns. And one project, One Horizon 2020 project, is dedicated for the food supply chain analysis. So we have a lot of good example of work we have done using open data. You can explore our main web channels in order to find a lot of works in which you can analyze what we have done using the open data. I can show you some example. For example, we are collaborating with let me find the exact example I would like to show you. Now we are collaborating with the European Food Safety Authority in order to create some data visualizations and some advanced report in order to exploit their open data about many different fields. I will show you one of them that is dedicated to antimicrobial resistance in Europe for ASFA. And this example is in order to show you the beautiful of our data visualization. That is, they are not simply dashboard. They have these storytelling features that you can activate using different options on these web-based interfaces. And you can play with that very easily. And the important point that I would like you to know about Quantitas is that we made very tailor-made experience, very tailor-made work. We don't provide any commercial solutions. We provide only very customized solution, from the data analytic features to the advanced reporting system. So let me show you about another example of what we have done using the open data during this COVID pandemic period, as Andrea mentioned before. We were invited at the beginning of the pandemic by the Veneto region institution to collect and connect all the open data available at the regional, at the national, and the European level, in order to make a unique dashboard in which they are collected. So unfortunately, this dashboard is only, of course, in Italian, but it is very intuitive. We present some main indicators, just like the people who were actually positive to the screening tests, for example, in the Veneto region, the people that are hospitalized in the hospital, the number of deaths, and we've made some data visualization using a benchmark with the Italian data. And we use, of course, many benchmarks with the other regionals or local systems about the same index. And we collect all the information all the information that were available at the moment we developed these interfaces. We use mainly the data coming from the Italian Civil Protection Institution that at the beginning of the pandemic made the data in open access available immediately. And we are using, of course, some data coming from the institution, the main institution of the Italian Institution for Statistics, ISTAT. And we are using it as well, some information coming from other portals at the local level, and we could represent the regional and the province levels. So we can go deeper in the analysis using a benchmark with different regions in Europe, using different sources coming from Spain, Germany, France, and of course Austria. And we connected these interfaces to one open access repository about the use of the national app for the tracing, for the disease tracing, in order to publish the number of people who downloaded this app from the store, from the web. We have some demographical analysis coming from the Statistical National Institute at the municipality level. So we go deeper in the territorial analysis. So in order to make a comparison about the death numbers between the previous year and the actual year. So we made some time series graphs using the weekly data about the deaths coming from starting from 2015. So we have a focus about the mobility data coming from open access data provided by Google that we can use in order to monitor the trend and the pattern about the main destinations, the rate of the words that are looked for, the destination, the kind of destinations that are searched in the website. And at the end, we've made some economical analysis about the regional and municipality levels and territories that were most affected by the impact of the pandemic. So this is only an example that and interfaces that we are continuing to update with the data that we collect automatically using APIs or other IT technology that we can use in order to collect and publish this data with a very frequent changes in the numbers in daily and weekly. So for this example. That's it. And if you have any questions about what you saw, please tell me.
Thank you, Duccio. Very interesting presentation. And I also liked the first part when you presented the working with data with European authorities and international projects related to the health system, because I think this is one of the key sectors where in the next years we will see the need of more data elaboration and tools to exploit the available data. And it's interesting also because you pointed out that you are not only using public data, but for example, data coming from Google.
Of course.
Who is a very important data source.
Yes, in my opinion, the way that a small company could do some business using open data is to grow in the expertise of look for different kind of data coming from different sources and try to combine this different information coming from different repositories. They couldn't be all open, of course, but as a statistician, as I am, the main value that could come from the data analysis is the exploration of the correlation among the data. So it's very difficult to make business only using the public open data, because as I already said, they are not standardized, they are not universal. They don't use very common, always very common formats, and they cannot access in using always automatical system. And but you can look for open data that you can use in order to combine this information with other information that is collected, for example, by the company, the private company. Often these companies, they don't know the real value that is in their data warehouses, and they cannot know how to put value in their information. And the open data coming from the public institutions can be combined with this information in order to explore patterns or explore hidden important inputs for the companies in order to understand many aspects of their job, of their works, of the problem.
A remark from our Greek friend: there are no data from Greece in this example.
Okay, from Greece. I didn't notice that. Oh.
I am Greek. This is why I noticed. I'm sure it's not your fault. It's that we haven't released a lot of open data regarding COVID, so it's not your fault. Yep. It's probably our fault, but you know, it's disappointing to see that. Sorry.
I'm very sorry for you as well. I didn't notice before. Okay, so you are welcome. If you have any question about our company, our activities, you can visit our website. You can get in contact with us in order to analyze our business or understand more about using open data in order to make analytical solutions or reporting custom reporting systems. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Duccio. I don't see any question in the chat, so I am now welcoming Crescenzo Antonio Marino, who is manager of the social and creative community created by the Interreg Mediterranean program.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. Good morning, everyone. And many thanks for your invitation to today's meeting. I share my presentation. Do you see my presentation? Do you see my presentation? It's okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, the social and creative.
Can you go to the full screen option, please?
Yes. It's better.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Social and creative is the Interreg Med community led by our region, Puglia region, gathering together the creatives and social innovators of the Mediterranean area. The community was launched in November 2016, and will last until June 2022, as you can see. In the first phase of the community, from 2016 to 2019, 6 partners from the 5 European countries, Italy, Belgium, Spain, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Greece, worked together with 2 main objectives, as you can see here. Communication and community building of the modular projects belonging to the community. Now we are in the second phase, and the partnership has been slightly revised and enlarged. In fact, now we are 8 partners from 6 European countries. Cyprus and Croatia are the new entries. Puglia region is still the lead partner, and in this second generation of the horizontal project, the activities are focused on transferring and capitalization. Cultural and creative industries, internationalization, cross-fertilization processes, sharing economy, public procurement of innovation, open and big data, textile and clothing, and the Mediterranean diet. These are some of the topics tackled within the social and creative community. The community includes 11 modular projects, 7 focused on the cultural and creative industries: Chimera, Co-Create, Creative Wear, Open Doors, Shebec, SMETH, and MDNet, and 4 dealing with social innovation that are Co-Work Med, Prominent Med, Odeon, the landlord of today's meeting, and Plus Resilient. In the first generation, the community was featured by Thalia horizontal project that has operated on 3 learning loops concerning projects, programs, and policies to co-develop a Mediterranean model for creativity and innovation directly with the territorial actors and stakeholders concerned. This policy learning process can then feed into the implementation of regional smart specialization strategies. Thalia has acted horizontally to improve the policy impact of projects in the creativity and social innovation domain, thus capturing the insights coming from the most interesting experiences taking place in our territories to support policymakers who aim to effectively deploy a Mediterranean model of creativity and social innovation. During the first phase, as you can see, the project worked on 3 strands of actions. The first, engagement and support with modular projects and their local and transnational networks with the purpose of community building, as well as helping them to interact with each other and their target audiences. The second, the communication. For example, the creation of web spaces for interaction and dissemination among researchers, practitioners, and policymakers. The organization of events at the local, national, and international levels, and attaining impact through the identification of opportunities to extend the most relevant modular projects results across the Med space and the European thematic policy agendas. On the methodological side, in the first generation, the community had 3 tangible results. The Semantic Framework is the first one. A smart search engine tool based on the assessment of a collection of documents and deliverables coming from the past and current MED programming period and project outcomes. The system allows to perform semantic searches, exploring the hidden and unknown connections among MED projects, pilot actions, and private and public stakeholders belonging to a same or different thematic domain by indexing, analyzing, and searching for collections of heterogeneous documents to extract knowledge through natural language processing, distributed semantics, and data visualization techniques. The power of the semantic search engine lies in the fact that there is no need to retrieve the same keywords within the body of any two documents to establish a connection between them. It is the machine with its artificial intelligence that identifies the connection and weighs it, returning to the user a list of related documents ranked by relevance. The semantic framework allows three different activities. The benchmark, to compare regional performances inside and outside the med area on the basis of different indicators related to creativity and social innovation, and to display historical trends in relation to these indicators from the regional to the European level. The smart search, second, to obtain the abstracts of the documents present in the collections, to obtain lists of documents sorted on the basis of semantic searches and concepts, and to extract new words from documents. And finally, the design that contributes to the validation of any policy implemented, provided that there is a fairly large collection of documents to be analyzed. Focusing on smart search, for example, I can choose the keyword cultural and creative industries. The system will return all the documents containing those words, complete with abstracts and detailed information, all the projects that deal with this issue. The system will also give me back those documents that contain concepts related to the cultural and creative industries keyword, using a natural language processing technique. Furthermore, the system creates maps relating to the concept sought and elaborates graphs. Another result of the community is the thematic mapping, created to provide the information and explore specific features of the 11 modular projects in the social and creative community. For example, if I search on the map Odeon, the tool will show all the countries involved in terms of partners, associated partners, beneficiaries, or stakeholders. If the project includes a testing module, the map will return also the information on the pilot countries. The thematic map has been realized with the information provided by each modular project, and it is currently being updated. Finally, the learning toolkit, the third one. That is a web space which collects and presents the relevant deliverables and tools developed by the 11 modular project in the social and creative community. The tool is addressed to creatives, non-governmental organizations, education and research centers, companies, public authorities, and policymakers of the med community, to help them to step forward and build their capacity to innovate across a wide range of thematic areas. It is also addressed to creators inside the med area who want to learn more about the Mediterranean English and are looking for potential collaborations and opportunities. One has to mute its microphone. Okay. Additionally, members will be able to access contact information and details to create new partnerships. Going into detail, during the first phase of the project, the community has been at the service of all modular projects, including Odeon, based on the 3 strands of action above mentioned. So, for example, on the engagement and support side, Odeon was one of the protagonists of the two big events. The Med in Rome, when Odeon was just born and not yet officially kicked off, and the Thalia final conference in Bari. You can see the first picture on the right. As far as communication is concerned, the community has always made available its tools, such as newsletters, yearbooks, project cases, to disseminate information related to the activities and results of the project. Also, Odeon was part of the social and creative community film titled Meet. Finally, on the impact side, Odeon and its tools and deliverables are part of all the tools created by the community. In particular, an entire policy brief, exactly the number 6, on data-driven innovation is dedicated to the Odeon project main topics. Now we are leaving the second phase of the horizontal project, and even if most of our modular projects are concluded, the role of the community is even more important. In fact, structuring the capitalization of the results of the former Thalia horizontal projects and of the ongoing and past modular projects, the second generation of the community is working on 3 main strands of actions. Community building, following on the Thalia track and complementing the previous work with modular projects and the local and transnational networks, the action will be addressed in 2 new main directions: liaison and interaction with Panorama Access 4 project, as well as with other thematically relevant horizontal projects and their target audiences. Transferring, including the preparation of a common asset database as a vehicle for wider and deeper engagement of stakeholders and end users through a 3-pronged approach. Animation of participatory interactive events using the Living Lab co-creation methods, mentoring and support to follow up on these engagement activities, and regular production of policy briefs. This action is ready to start, and all the modular projects will be involved in transferring working groups aimed at defining givers, identification or selection of relevant output, modular projects, experts, stakeholders, and at determining tools for the identification and engagement of relevant takers. And finally, capitalizing, involving the creation of interregional policy working groups across the Med space, aimed at discussing and implementing the most prominent results into exemplary, transforming them into concrete regional or national policy actions proposals through reusable policy templates. Until yesterday, the community worked to contribute to your visibility. Now is the time to capitalize on the results achieved and not waste the great wealth of knowledge, studies, skills, and tools that all the projects, including Odeon, have collected during these years. In the coming months, you will be contacted to be an active part of these working groups. We will support you in the transfer and capitalization process. We really hope that you too want to share this path with us. Well, I'm done from this side. Unfortunately, I have to leave now the meeting, but I want to thank you for the invitation, and I wish Merry Christmas all of you. And I want to thank also Anna Liberti, our communication manager that is with us during this meeting. And if you have any question or suggestion regarding to our social community and the horizontal projects, Anna is at your disposal. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas, and have a great job.
Thank you, Dr. Marino, and thank you also to Anna, our liaison officer with the social and creative community. Dear partners, we know that the social creative community will be open until 2022. So we can cooperate in this community also to capitalize the results of our Odeon project. Now I am giving the floor for the second part of the day to Roberto Sandrini. Hi, Roberto.
Thank you. I followed everything, really interesting, a lot of inputs. I could say that these speeches invited to continue working together on open data. I think it is a quite promising cooperation feed. But of course, we need first to understand what we have done with the Odeon project. We don't have one specific presentation because we decided to interview our partners. So from now I have some questions. According to the questions, there will be the presentation of some results that have been achieved by each single partner. I ask each of the interviews to reply using the kind of support that has been decided, and to keep the time not more 2-3 minutes each, because we need to have the round table in the due time and not go too much over the time schedule in the agenda. So my first question, I invite the representative of Sarga, Javier Sancho, and I ask him one specific question. You know that the Odeon project established 7 data hubs throughout all the countries. So my question is, Javier, can you summarize what is a data hub and for Aragona, and what is the added value for your area having such a data hub? Thank you.
Okay, Roberto, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Our data hub is an already consolidated work group where companies and the public administration combine. Our data hub is focusing on the agri-food sector and has very clear objectives, aims. You know, we have one of the main objective is the improvement of the open data protocol with contributions on the stakeholders and the users, pedagogical and formative work on the different use of open data, because I think this is very important. Some companies don't know anything about open data, and it's quite important improve the skills for the companies to use the open data and the application of open data in use cases for each sector. In fact, in all of our events, we always present successful use cases, because it's quite important that the people can see perfectly the use of the data. The main mission of these objectives is to introduce open data in the life of the companies, to make open data another tool when it comes to working, and for this is essential to continue improving our portal, obviously, because we need quantity and quality of data, and to strengthen collaboration between the public sector and private sector. It's very important to emphasize that the teaching of the open data is very important for the end user. It's necessary to show the possibilities of this field, and it's necessary to train these actors. I insist in this part because I think it's one of the biggest problems for the open data. It's the disinformation and the training needs for the companies. Okay, it's in Aragon. This is our third project related to open data. This has served in first place to have one of the best portals in Spain, because it's a fact, because we have received a lot of wins, and to create a network between end users and developers. And above all, to publicize the possibilities that work with data. And in this moment, we have an important network with developers that using the web portal and improve the existing tools and create new tools. In this moment, we are trying to connect these developers with the private companies. We have generated a demand between the end user and the public administration at the same time, and these projects have served to stimulate the administration to improve the service of the open data portal. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is interesting mainly because of the mission of SARGA, that is one regional sectoral agency. Correct, Javier?
Yeah, correct.
Good. Yeah, but you know that every project is usually planned to implement one tool, one platform. Unfortunately, we are plenty of platforms, and what we decided, Despina, I invite Despina to tell us something, is not to create something branding new, but to capitalize what exists. Additionally, I just can tell you, the platform will be transferred under Veneto region data platform umbrella, and this will help the durability of the Odeon platform. But Despina, let's tell us some more about the platform of Odeon. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. I hope you can all see me. I'll try and share my screen. So instead of telling you about the platform, I would like to show you the platform, and we have created a small video. I hope you can see my screen.
It hasn't started yet, but yeah, now it's starting. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
We are waiting for the video. In the meantime, if I remember okay, here it is.
Utilization of past MET projects integrated with EU platforms dealing with open data and linked open data. The collaboration between these platforms assures a constant flow of data in the three thematic areas of the project, which are creative and cultural industries, green growth, and blue growth, together with the national, regional, and governmental platforms. The platform hosts open data freely available by the publishers, training contents for awareness and capacity building activities, and instruments and tools able to assist SMEs and startups for their entrepreneurial initiatives to develop joint cooperation and innovation paths. The main section of the platform is the area of the available datasets. Right now, as you can see, the platform hosts more than 5,500 open datasets from different resources from all 7 countries that participate in the Odeon project. These are Italy, Spain, Greece, Slovenia, Croatia, France, and Montenegro. In the platform, you can search the datasets by topic, by format, by license, by publishers, and by keywords. This is an example of searching and you can see all the results that come from different providers. The next section is a section about the hubs that host information on the data hubs that were created as part of the Odeon project. Here you can see the objectives and the services they provide, their sector of focus, as well as their geographical scope. The platform also provides information on the services
that are provided by the data hubs for capacity building, for training, for networking, and for business developments. As you can see here, we have examples of the hackathons that took place as part of the Odeon project, but we also have provided fact sheets about other organizations that would probably want to also launch a hackathon. Here we also have more concrete information about how to launch a hackathon and all the steps that you can follow. The platform also provides information on stories from the achievement and results of its data hub. For example, here you can see the Creation Hub, their achievements, the results in numbers, and all their future goals and the feedback that they received as part of the Odeon project.
So I'll stop the video. So, just to go over time, because I think that's very important so everyone can have a go. I think, as you said, what we did in the Odeon project, we tried to capitalize on other platforms and just create one point where we can get all the data sets that are freely available from other projects, from the European Union, from national and regional portals that have data sets, but we also have created a platform where you can find services that are available about open data. And what you said earlier about the sustainability of the platform, it's really important that Veneto region has taken this initiative to host the platform and help us maintain it after the end of the project. So that's it for me for now.
Thank you, Despina. Just one more detail, please repeat the link. www.
OpenDataHubs.eu, sorry.
Thank you very much. So
I will put it on the chat for everyone to see.
Yeah, thank you very much. But my following question is for Sandra. Sandra is representing the Chamber of Commerce of Montenegro. Thank you, Sandra, for your very active participation to the project. I know that you will tell us something about the last, one of the last experience we have done in the project. I mean the transnational study visit that unfortunately was online, but I know it was quite interesting. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Roberto. I would also like to thank you for inviting us in this project. It was a great honor for us. And it was one opportunity for us to learn from some countries which are more advanced in this respect. In that respect, I will say a few words about the study visit, which we first intended to organize physically by visiting Italy and Slovenia. However, due to the COVID pandemic, we had to reschedule our plans and we had to organize this visit online. We tried to harvest as much as possible for this new opportunity by combining the efforts with our colleagues from Slovenia, Croatia, and Italy. And then we decided to instead of us looking and listening to the experiences of Croatia, of Slovenia and Italy, we should also present our open data systems. So we had a presentation of the 4 open data ecosystems. I would, before I explain the agenda, I would like to stress the cooperation of all partners, which was a perfect synergy, and both in the preparation process and the implementation process. We divided the roles very easily, and everybody stuck to their part flawlessly. Anyway, when we developed the agenda, we decided to, for each country, to invite the relevant state representatives which deal with the open data to present the situation in the country, the activities and the challenges and the plans for the future. Then we presented the project Odeon, and in the end, each country invited the companies which created some applications based on open data to present their applications. This the whole event has shown that there is clearly a difference in the experience and the advancement level, but there are also joint challenges that need to be overcome, mostly with respect to the publishing of valuable data sets. We also saw that through the case study examples of the companies which presented that day, that there is a versatility of opportunities of how these data could be used and reused, and that there are also manifold opportunities for cooperation. And we saw also in the chat room of the event that the companies did communicate among themselves and ask for suggestions and for pieces of advice. So that would be it from
Thank you.
Now.
Thank you, Sandra. Just one question. How many participants at the study visit totally?
I think there was about 40, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay, okay, very good, very good, very good. Thank you
Even
so
more,
much.
I think maybe around 50. I think.
I honestly, I remember even more, but probably I'm wrong, because if I remember, they were talking about 72, but I don't want to be to overestimate the impact. But thank you very much for to Montenegro, Croatia, Slovenia, and Italy for this cross cooperation in one innovative study visit. Coming back to the Chamber of Commerce of Padova, Andrea, one hackathon online was organized. Please tell us something about that. Keep the time because we are running on delay, and thank you very much.
Yes, the hackathon was planned to take place physically. Unfortunately, Veneto region has been one of the first European territories affected by COVID-19. So we had to rethink the hackathon, and we organized it online. And of course, the challenge was to think about project ideas using open data for one out of 5 possible challenges. For example, sustainable economies and services, tourism, coronavirus pandemic, and how to deal with it. The winner was Ettore Falde, a young startupper who presented Move, which is an online app using open data for smart and sustainable tourism by bike. And a part of the hackathon, the final 5, the best solution, has been also part of the work done with local working groups. So groups of entrepreneurs of different sectors and members of our data hub who talk with the companies, the startuppers who were selected as the final 5 of the hackathon, how to pass from the idea phase to the concept and the implementation of the proposed solutions.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea, because of course the hackathon was just a first step of the activity, and the idea was to support entrepreneurial initiatives or the startups of entrepreneurial initiatives concerning data exploitation. It is something that has been well described by the previous speaker, but we have done something even during the project. My question now is addressed to Ivan. Ivan from AMAC Picro, because I know that they had big challenges to continue working with the open data during the pandemic emergency, but they will tell us something. What is the future of the Croatian Data Hub? Ivan, are you online? Yeah, it is online, it's showing the slides. So thank you very much, and please keep the time. You need to share your screen, full option screen, full screen option. Great.
Do you see it now?
Yeah, very good, Ivan.
Okay, so Croatia has established a Croatian Data Hub, which consists of 19 members. It was established in June 2019. We founded in Zagreb, capital of Croatia, where more than a third of national Croatian GDP is generated. It is economic center, and most of our hub members are located in Zagreb. It consists of 19 members. 4 higher education, 8 SMEs, 1 enterprise, 1 business support organization, and 5 national public authority. Regarding the services that the hub provides, those are exchange of experience with other project partner countries, thematic workshops, local study visits, training seminars, local working groups, hackathon, capacity building seminars, technical seminars, presentation of financing opportunities, market creation, and the use of the Odeon platforms. Those are activities that we have done, and in the future, what we are planning, since the project Odeon is soon to be over, we are planning to do cooperation with our associate partner, Central State Office for the Development of Digital Society, and it is planned to work on encouraging mutual cooperation, sharing knowledge, positive example of practice, as well as networking and participation in various competitions such as hackathons, datatons, and similar. And their plan is to publish as much as more data sets in machine readable and open format, and to develop applications based on open data sets published on the Open Data Portal. Those are the plans for the future.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you very much. The future is at local level with the data hubs, but we have even one med data cluster. We developed some activities. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 emergency, they all have been online. But one of them was related to the opportunities of cooperation between members of the different hubs. Despina, again, you were in charge for the organization of the last event that was past 4th of December. Thank you, Despina. Tell us something about that.
Exactly. I need the, can you stop sharing your screen so I can share mine? Okay, yeah, thank you. So, yes, as you said, unfortunately, this event was scheduled to be, let me make it full screen.
You are in full screen option. Sorry, you are sharing your screen, but we don't see anything.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry, I'm pushing
Probably
random buttons.
you need to select the presentation.
Yes, sorry. Okay, can you see it now?
Not yet. Try to stop the sharing and do it again, please.
Okay, let me do it again. Sorry about that. Is it okay now?
We don't see anything.
Nothing?
No.
Nothing, trust us.
This is why I love online events.
Yeah, I love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try new share. New share here.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are starting to share.
Yes. Is it okay now?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Despina, tell us something without
Okay,
the
I will just
presentation,
I will just talk without the presentation. Sorry about that. So as Roberto said, initially this event was planned to happen in a physical space, and it was planning to happen here in Athens, in Greece, which of course, you know, it would have been better because I think, you know, physical interaction in terms of trying to promote cooperation is always better. However, since we didn't have much choice due to the pandemic, we decided to host the event online. The aim of the event was to boost transnational cooperation for the members of the data hubs and to support potential cooperation synergies and promote the internalization of the sector of open data. So what we did, we had dedicated one day where we started with 3 training sessions for the data hub members participate. We were very lucky to have 3 very special guests with us, and with the cooperation of the rest of the partnership. We had training session on how you can provide business models using open data. We had a training session about go-to-go market strategies. And we had a third training session about how to innovate with open data. And at the end of the day, we also had breakout matchmaking sessions between the members of the data hubs in order to see how they can interact and they can join cooperation amongst them. And as Roberto said, this happened a few weeks back on the 5th of December. Unfortunately, we're still collecting the feedback that we have so far, so I don't have any, concrete feedback from the participants. However, during the day, we had some very live discussions and the breakout sessions between the data hub members. So I think even though we couldn't have, the physical interaction, that would be better. We managed to get in touch people from different hubs and discuss how they can cooperate in the future and after the end of the project.
Thank you, Despina. I know that there have been quite interesting speeches. I remember, for example, one that is the relationship between open data and open innovation. And it is even in the full title of our project, because the Odeon is the acronym, but the full title is Open Data for European Open Innovation. So I know that there's been quite interesting speeches during your event. I come back to one topic that is the transferring of all these activities that have been implemented. And I ask Monica from the Technological Park Ljubljana to tell us something about a quite interesting handbook that has been it was a hard work. It was prepared by Monica. So Monica, thank you so much for telling us something about that.
Yes, thank you, Roberta. Just starting to sharing my screen, my presentation. Okay, share. And already Despina, I will go.
Marta, we see your presentation. You should Yes, good.
Already the spinach showed the part of the handbook, but I will tell from my point of view. So the main goal of the handbook was to highlight the results which was achieved by numerous events carried out as an open data hub's activities, and with the focus of stakeholders' feedback. So we decided, we all know that establishment of Open Data Hub was one of the deliverable, but also it was a story of creating and of building an open data ecosystem in each partner's region. So we decided to include these stories into the first part of handbook with basic data, informations about establishment, achievements and results in numbers, and also later with future goals and stakeholder feedbacks. So 7 hubs are presented, 7 hubs through 7 stories are presented on the unique way, on the same way. But the second part of the handbook focus on the guidelines, which based on the best practices, and those best practices was for us our hackathons, study visit, coachings, pitching, transnational matching events, all activities that we carried out in our pilot tasks, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6. And that is, the result is in a handbook that some of the activity like hackathon there is presented by guidelines, and with parallel implementation, or better to say realization of this activity and feedbacks in each individual open data hub. It was really interesting collecting those informations, and really gave to sum up, gave an impression that these activities contributes or even started to create open data ecosystem in each partner's region. So, and that is in short for
thank you, Monica. But I know that the handbook is quite interesting. It will be available through the product website for sure. So I invite the participant to have a look at the handbook, and in case to come back to Monica or to the partner for additional information.
Yes.
Thank you, Monica. I come back to the lead partner. I know that Gianluigi, the boss of the project, is actually engaged, but we have the deputy boss, that is Manora.
Good morning.
Manora, can you just explain shortly the connection of Odeon with the regional agenda, the regional portal that you have?
Yes, Roberto, let me share my slide. You see the slide?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You should put the full screen option.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Veneto region has a rich digital agenda where we try to create connection between different projects. My colleague Anna Franco mentioned the European project Homer and DEAS that are connected with the Odeon project. But we tried to create links with other projects. For example, we designed a medium-term initiative financed by European funds for the creation of a local innovation lab. The aims of these innovation labs are to exploit the quadruple helix model and create new and innovative products and services in order to satisfy social needs with open data. Among the obligation of Innovation Lab is to use the Veneto region portal dataset. And today, thanks to the Odeon project, the portal has been enriched with a new section with the international dataset. And so the Innovation Lab will be able to create and develop services useful to international community too.
Thank you. Thank you, Manola. Very effective and quite short. We recover some delay. Thank you very much. I would like to go to France. Karim, I see your face on the screen. And I would like to come back to the study visit experience. I remember because I was there, but one of the study visits you organized was quite interesting. Can you tell us something? Can you share with us something concerning your experience?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Karim.
Thank you. So we did 2 study visits in France in the framework of the Odeon testing phase. Well, their general objective was to gather, the various stakeholders and promote the development of new services with economic, social, and environmental value through the use of open data. So on the screen, you can see a couple of pictures of our first study visit, which was organized during the Open Data Days that we did in March 2020 at the Marseille World Trade Center in the margin of the Open Data Day 2020. So that was right before we all had to go under lockdown, unfortunately. So we co-organized this event together with many activities actually we did in the Data Hub in France with Data Activist, which is like a cooperative specializing in open data with data scientists, and they work a lot on helping several French public administrations open their data and provide training on the uses of open data. So the study visit that we did in March 2020, which was physical format, we actually coupled the study visit with a matching event because we combined these 2 events to make it sort of a forum to bring together public administrations, local authorities, intermediate organizations, VSOs, higher education, data scientists, and startups, and the aim was to have a series of testimonies of local and regional data producers and reusers, which were the subject of the study visit actually, and their presentation were aimed at stirring dialogue on the way to enhance the impact of data opening. So the target groups were quadruple helix actors, like most of our events in the Odeon approach, and building on the presentations and discussions that took place during this study visit. We then had some matching and networking that took place because the people were able to exchange either within the session or outside. The discussions were pretty interesting because we had 8 data producers from the region. So we had the region Sud Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. We had the regional directorate for environment, construction, and housing, and etc. We had B, data reusers like media and infolabs, C, researchers and data scientists, and D, project holders, project carriers, startups interested in the approach. So yeah, so what's interesting is that the various levels of data lifecycle were represented and could update each other and reflect together on how to improve data production, standardization, flow, and give it more potential for impact by working together on making the production of data better correspond to the need in data. And we had very quickly, the second study visit had to be organized online because of coronavirus. It focused on the challenges of standardizing actually local data to make it accessible at a larger scale, be it national or international, through the experience of 4 public, national or regional data portals. So in the unfortunate event of coronavirus, having events online was actually an opportunity because it gave our event a much wider reach throughout France. So we had an average of like 70 participants per webinar. And also it gave much more stakeholder diversity, because taking part in the webinar did not need like transportation or costs. So we had people from all over France and representatives from different regions of France, which was very interesting to compare the advancement of open data in several parts of France. Thank you.
Thank you, Karim. Thank you. Yeah, you are right. Apart for all the obvious consideration, COVID-19 forced to move very quickly to the digitalization, even concerning the organization of many activities that haven't been thought to be online. But in some case, this was really one opportunity to involve more users. Yeah, you are right. You are right.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I come back to Loa. Loa, I already talked about Barcelona, but I ask you again, because in Spain, we have only one data hub that belong to Barcelona and Aragon or Zaragoza. So it is a very nice cooperation for Spain. But I know that you developed several activities in Barcelona. Can you tell us something, Loa?
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Roberto. I'm going to be short, as I know that we are running out of time. As you mentioned, the Spanish Open Data Hub was actually based in Aragon, or the lead was Sarga, but we also wanted the Catalan firms actually to take part in this initiative. That's why we actually launched the Spanish Open Data Hub on 11th of May 2019, also in Barcelona, in mark of KIM conference, which is one of the biggest conferences that KIM organizes each year. And we had the opportunity to present the hub to lots of companies that might have been interested. And then we actually organize also some thematic technical seminars on the future of data, or how the data can be accessed, filtered, and used by these companies. The same as other hub members, we also organize 2 study visits, a capacity building seminar for intermediaries and small medium enterprises on how big data helps the companies to innovate, design, and develop new business models. We organize a coaching program for hub members on 11th of December 2019, 1 year ago almost. And then we add a funding opportunity event on the same day, where we presented different funding sources, both at national and European level, to our hub members, that could actually benefit from them. And we had a local capacity building seminar for policy makers and innovators on 13th of May 2020 this year, about how open data fosters innovation. We actually organized it with the help of 22 at Network, which actually enabled us to reach lots of companies here based in Catalonia. And recently, we organized a seminar address to small, medium enterprises, startups, and academia on how big data and the use cases of open data in different sectors. So we had the opportunity to see lots of applications and companies which are interested in exploiting open data. It was the last event that we organized, and as you mentioned, it was an online webinar. Although some of our events were physical, we had the opportunity to meet people and hub members in person, but some of the last events due to coronavirus were organized online. And as mentioned also by Karim, it was a good opportunity to not only have participants from Barcelona, but also from other cities in Spain, whom were interested to know more about Odeon project and the activities that we organized in Spain.
Thank you, Loa. Thank you very much. Of course, Barcelona means Catalonia, but it is in strict cooperation with Aragona, and we are sure that the cooperation will continue, even concerning the data economy. I come back, but I promise it's the last time to Greece. I just sent one message to Kostas. Kostas, read my message in private, please, and reply to me. Despina, I have one question. Can you tell us something about the durability, the sustainability of Odeon project? Because I know that you are in charge for that, you are working. I saw yesterday one reminder because some contribution are missing, but it is quite normal. It is a very, very busy December. So thank you very much, Despina. Tell us something about the sustainability of Odeon and data hubs.
Okay, I try to share my screen again. I don't know if it's working. If it doesn't, I don't want to waste any time. Does it work? No?
No.
Okay, so I won't waste any of your time. I'll just go ahead and talk again without the presentation.
It is a pity because I saw your very nice presentation, but
yes.
They will be available after the
yes, obviously it will be available, and I will just now try to describe it as best as I can without the visual aid. Sorry about that. I will send it to everyone though. As you're saying, you know, the sustainability plan is always comes at the end of the project. So we are working currently on this. Just to elaborate on what everyone has already said so far about the data hubs. The aim at the end was to create the DataMed cluster, as it has already been introduced as an idea in the conversation we're having so far. So the aim of the cluster, the DataMed cluster, is to support all the actors that are working in the open data chain through an innovation support system to build their innovation potential, to scale up their growth potential by linking up to knowledge, technologies, market, and expertise, and to also facilitate to the uptake of new technologies. You know, Javier mentioned how much importance there is to training and to use new business models and strengthen their network. I think overall we have tried to do that several activities that we had during the implementation of the Odeon project. But now in terms of the DataMed cluster and its sustainability, we have envisioned a 3 stages part, if I can call it that. So for the first stage, we are now entering this one. It's the virtual phase where we have limited expenses. There is no subscription for anyone that wants to be part of the cluster, and the services are offered through the platform that we have, and they are supported by the data hubs that we have already created through the project. The second stage that we want to go is to have, we call it in physical premises, so we still want to keep the expenses limited for everyone, but we will be able to provide services by the cluster mainly in freemium form. So we will have limited premium services that to be provided to members upon request. And in this stage, we will we propose to have some additional EU funding required. So, you know, this is an opportunity to see how we can work on that on the future. And on the stage 3, we envision an expansion of the cluster, so establishment and growth of the cluster to more countries and provision of services directly by the cluster and its platform. In this stage, we hope that the hub, the cluster will be self-funded, and the hubs will have a supportive role and they will benefit from the participation, and the main sources of revenue will be through subscription and premium services. I did have a nice presentation where we said, you know, the services that we have currently through the virtual operation, and we have some services that we envision when we have the physical cluster. So I'm just going to go through very quickly. Right now we have through the platform, we have collaboration and networking, we have applied R&D, we have joint projects and policy actions and lobbying that we can offer as services. And when we go to the physical cluster, we want to enhance these services through financing and access to capital, quality management and certification, and training and qualification. So sorry, I did not manage to make that work.
Thank you, Despina, but you well explain. You are plenty of plan for the future. So thank you so much for inspiring how to continue working and how to capitalize the experience that we are going to finish very soon. I come back to France. Yeah, because I know that you are, because it is not yet finished, the coordinator of the transferring activities, Karim.
Yes.
But at the very beginning, you teach the partners what is and how to do the transferring activities. I know it is not a task specifically designed for Odeon, but it's quite nice to know that such a capacity building action took place. So, Karim, can you tell us something about that?
Yes, I'll try to be quick. Obviously, I will not be able to delve into all the topic, but yeah, concerning transferring actions, we asked ourselves why implement transferring actions to try and define them. So we come up with the 4 following points that you can see on the screen. 1, to learn from each other. What that means is that depending on the countries, our work, expertise, environment, and legal framework may not be the same. Therefore, some hubs may have to develop or have already developed solutions that could apply to the issues of other hubs. 2, to co-construct solutions, meaning that all our hubs are working to promote the production, availability, and reuse of open data, which we were talking about since this morning. And that requires approaches and tools that are comparable, but may be slightly different from one country to the next. Therefore, through identifying common challenges and difficulties, the idea of transferring is to work jointly on producing learnings or coming up with shared solutions. 3, transferring is also to demonstrate our impact, because we must always keep in mind why our project was designed for in the first place. Our 7-country community is supposed to formally shape up as the Med data cluster as presented by our Greek friends. So in order to give life to that cluster, we need to use our common platform to brainstorm and test how to promote the results of our work and have an impact on the open data policy, availability, quality, economy, and whatnot of our hubs. And finally, transferring is to work on replicability, something that is very appreciated by the European Union, and we saw that it was great potential for this in the initial presentations of this event today. Working on replicability is actually through demonstrating the impact and results of our activities and hubs, because that helps promoting the approach of Odeon for it to be replicated in other European cities and countries that might be interested, ensuring the sustainability of our efforts and tools that are being produced in our hubs. A couple of things to conclude. In Odeon, the transferring phase mainly aims at enlarging the impact of the project, addressing specific actions to other actors interested to be involved with the Odeon activities, particularly with the data hubs and with the metadata cluster, so at national level and at European level. And the enlargement of stakeholders should be both in quantity and quality, more actors coming from the same project areas or others, added value participants able to increase the effectiveness of the data hub, the durability of the Odeon platform, and the added value of the metadata cluster. To sum up with these three final points, so the goals of transferring actions of Odeon are to be reached through three actions. One is sharing the common methodology and common approach within the partnership. B, modeling the main outputs within each data hub, i.e., for example, the set of services provided by the data hubs, the communities established with the metadata cluster, the set of inputs for e-government policies regarding the quality and quantity of open data. C, providing tools to enlarge the scope of actors and supporting the data hubs, promoting them among SMEs and clusters, policymakers, and innovative stakeholders to strengthen the e-government policies at national and European level, and the supply of data, the support for entrepreneurial approach of open data. And finally, which is some work that is currently being finalized by Odeon partners, we are drafting protocols and agreements and handbooks able to create, follow-up plans and sustainability plans both at national and European level, to keep sustaining the efforts that we have accomplished throughout the Odeon project.
Thank you very much, Karim. But talking about transferring, we need even to say something about the communication. And because transferring and communication are very strictly connected, I know that Andrea, that is representing the Chamber of Commerce of Padova, who was in charge for the coordination of the communication activities, select among all the communication action undertaken the project website. Correct, Andrea?
Yes, it's correct. This is the last time you hear from me today.
No, you have the conclusions.
I guess you are a bit tired to hear me talking. But
don't worry.
I am sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we see.
Well,
can you share the full screen option?
Yes. The partners already know our project's website, but this is to share the information also to the attendees who get in touch with us for the first time, because Interreg Mediterranean Cooperation Program decided to embed all projects' website on its platform. So Odeon project has its own website. If you look for it on a search engine, just write Odeon, Interreg, Odeon Mediterranean. Not only Odeon, otherwise you will get many theaters or cinemas as a result. And our Greek friends can explain why. Because Odeon is not only an acronym, but also a word of Greek origin. This is the homepage of our website. You can scroll and you go in the news section and then in the events section, or you can click on the menu button and you can see our story, what we do, what is Odeon project about. And I think the most interesting part for our stakeholders is we achieve deliverables database. All completed Odeon deliverables are published in this section. And since this website will be kept online also after the formal end of our project, this will be, I think, a useful way to capitalize also on the experience, on the great experience done in these years. And of course, news and events and social media. The social media is another important part of our communication activities. There are many social posts related also to this event being shared among us. And then about communication, there is the last feature, which is the audio and video, but I will keep it as a sweet part for the conclusion of our meeting.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for this short presentation. Many other things just served, but it is up to the partners. I have the last two questions, so be patient. We are going to finish. I'm going to Sandra again. She was at the beginning of my interviews, and it is quite one of the last. Montenegro doesn't belong to the European Union yet, but is working in strict cooperation with us, even for the establishment of the data hubs and the connection with the data med cluster. Sandra, can you tell us something about the Montenegro hub that has been established with the Odeon project?
Yes, of course. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, you need to go to the full screen option.
I'm trying to, but for some reason.
Close to 100% that you see there.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
correct.
Okay. It's okay.
Great. Yeah, great.
Yes. Well, we established our hub, I would say, pretty early on, officially on the 3rd of July 2019. It was the result of the fact that our secretary of the ICT Association Board is also a member of the National Working Group on Open Data. So she was able to connect the state institutions participating in the working group with the ICT companies who which are members of our ICT Association board. So we had the two pillars of the quadruple helix already in place. The meeting was held, the official launching meeting was held at the Chamber of Economy premises. There were 47 participants and 15 of which were hub members. As the time was, these photos are just for the illustration purposes, but I will continue speaking about our activities. So we were trying to work in parallel on the demand and supply side for our hub, given the fact that at the time we established our hub, we had only 33 open data sets published. So we decided to place special focus and special effort on trying to persuade the public institutions to publish their data sets, and we worked together with the Ministry of Public Administration on this task. As one of the first activities, we decided to organize the hackathon, and it was organized in the period of the 3rd to 5th October 2019, in order to have the applications, to have some examples, examples from our country, how this works and what can be done with the open data sets. We also, these activities were followed by matching and pitching first and the matching event, and a series of seminars and webinars on which main aim was to encourage the use of open data, to explain its use and reuse value. And then with those target groups which were aware of this and were good in this, we worked on developing their business skills. We also worked on promoting access to finance for those who already have some innovative ideas. So as a result, I would like to say that now we have 123 data sets published. I think that it is to a large extent also from the engagement in this project. We also have our open data portal linked to the EU open data portal. And also I would like to say that we tried to, when we tried to develop our demand side, we turned to the media. We explained that we needed their assistance, and we had 5 or 6 appearances in the media explaining what open data are to widest possible audience. We also created a flyer for ordinary people on what open data are, why they are important, how they can be used, and so on. And we also had numerous press releases and posts in social media regarding the hub's activities. Now the project is closing, and we will try hard, we will really try to stay in the Med Data Hub. And in my opinion, I think we should have, as the hub members, the inclusion of civil society and academia as well. We will try to enlarge the hub also with the SMEs belonging to the Blue Growth, because this is one of our smart specialization strategy areas. And we will also try to we will keep publishing materials, and we will try to participate in the Med Data cluster.
you, Sandra. Thank you very much. Very appreciate your efforts, and even because I know that it was quite challenging in the last months. I know.
Yes,
So,
yes, we had a problem because of when the COVID pandemic broke out. It was really difficult to reschedule the activities, given the fact that digitalization isn't fully in place here. But I hope it will be.
I can understand. More or less, it is the situation we all are living. I go to the last question. Monica, are you online? Are you still available? My question is, I know that Slovenia and the Technological Park Ljubljana work together for one national data strategy. I know that there is a good connection. Can you tell us something about that, Monica?
Yes, the Ministry of Public Administration recently in July published the strategic plan for open data 2020 and 2021. And we can say that the results and all implemented activities through Odeon projects have a really strong impact in the status of Slovenia open data system. As previous mentioned, established open data hub called OPSI Hub, together with the Ministry of Public Administration and also Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Slovenia. And this is a starting point. This OPSI Hub is a starting point to operate, to collaborate, to coordinate activities for the future and also for the strategy. And that is why the boosting of all these activities of OPSI Hub is one of the priority of the strategic plan. Also, we know the hackathon, which was one of the deliverables of Odeon, is placed in a strategic plan as a regularly yearly activity, as an event in order for cross-sectoral collaboration of stakeholders, of organizations. And we can mention also the one of the short plan is development of visualization of open data and promotion of their use, as well as preparation of a study of the economic impact of open data. And that's those last two facts are as detected as a short-term plan in our strategic plan for open data in Slovenia.
Thank you. Quite interesting, even because the project on open data adventure is continuing with another project that is under the Alpine Space Program. It is called DEAS, if I remember, and in which you have an important role together with the city of Ljubljana.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so this is all from the side of the results of the project. Of course, just a quick overview. We have plenty of activities carried out during the 3 years of the project. Just a summary has been done with these interviews, but I hope that you are curious to ask much more to the partner. So come back to your partner of reference and ask for the involvement, for any additional information, for clarification. We are at your disposal. Andrea, I come back to you. I leave you the word, and I think we can go toward the conclusion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you all for this really inspiring event today. The situation, the health situation throughout the world is not good. And I think it is important and also positive to talk about the future, about how our work can help improve the development of our regions and the competitivity of our economy. I would like to share with you our project video. We will send it to all partners, and this is a preview because it is brand new. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, we see.
And here as well?
No. It's starting now. No.
Andrea, because I had the same problem. When you share the screen, there is a choice that you have to press that says share also audio. It's a separate choice that you have to click when you share the video. Sorry, I just did it before.
Okay. Share the screen. Bye. I try again.
Yeah, there should be an option that says also share audio or something like that. I don't know how it's in Italian, sorry.
Audio. We say audio, that is more or less the same because the word is coming from you, from Greek.
Okay. Okay.
Le regioni sono
Thank you.
caratterizzate soprattutto da una grande fragilità da un punto di vista economico e da un punto di vista dell'imprenditorialità. Esso cosa ha l'obiettivo di mettere a disposizione i dati open da parte delle pubbliche amministrazioni, ma anche da parte del mondo delle imprese, allo scopo soprattutto di creare innovazione. Ma in un momento come questo della pandemia, l'importanza di processi di questo genere sono fondamentali proprio per lo sviluppo di questi sistemi e per lo sviluppo dell'economia medesima. Gli open data, quando sono di grande qualità, quando sono certificati e quando sono disponibili, sono una vera e propria miniera per quanto riguarda chi vuole intraprendere e quanto riguarda chi vuole invece pianificare.
Without data, we can't build information. And without information, there is no new knowledge. Data becomes information when it is given a context. The collection and presentation of data helps to form information. Open data is data that anyone can access, use, and share. Open data refers to the information collected, produced, or paid for by the public bodies and made freely available for reuse for any purpose. Governments, businesses, and individuals can use open data to bring about social, economic, and environmental benefits. The benefits of open data are diverse and range from improved efficiency of public administrations, economic growth in the private sector, to wider social welfare. This means encourage and facilitate research, reduce data loss, transparency, publicly funded research.
Common goal today is to discuss how best to encourage and support creation of innovative solutions based on open data in order to help digital economy grow.
Odeon project addresses the exploitation of open data and aims at strengthening the relationship between digital agenda, e-government strategy, the open data platforms implemented at several levels, and the availability of open data to support innovation process within Interreg Mediterranean area. The goals are improve the quality and the access to open data published by public institutions, support the growth of clusters with data economy in the Mediterranean area. The project is supported by 10 partners from 7 countries in the Mediterranean area: Italy, Montenegro, Croatia, Slovenia, Greece, Spain, France.
izzive bi videl v tem, da bi bilo to dostopno res do vseh ljudi, vseh publike, javne publike, ne? In da bi to bilo na nek tak enostaven način jim prikazano in da bi to oni lahko tudi uporabljali.
Bonjour, je suis Hervé Lévite. Je suis responsable d'une unité information-connaissance à la DREAL-PACA. La DREAL, c'est la direction régionale de l'environnement, de l'aménagement et du logement en région. Pour autant, notre but, et c'est pour ça qu'on s'intéresse au projet Odeon, c'est de rejoindre la communauté de partage des données ouvertes et d'aller beaucoup plus loin. Notamment, ce qu'on voudrait savoir, c'est qui sont les réutilisateurs de ces données environnementales. Est-ce que ça intéresse uniquement les bureaux d'études, les collectivités? Est-ce que ça intéresse également les citoyens? Ça, c'est pour nous très intéressant et très important de le savoir. Pourquoi? Pour pouvoir fournir justement à l'ensemble de cette communauté une donnée de meilleure qualité, c'est-à-dire une donnée mieux renseignée, des métadonnées précises, et puis des données régulièrement mises à jour. Le but étant, en ce qui nous concerne, bien sûr, un développement équilibré de la région, notamment sur les questions de nature, de protection de l'environnement, mais également de développement économique et social.
That open data allows us to create an app which would allow citizens a good overview of the current statistics on the coronavirus pandemic in our country, statistics such as number of people infected, number of people hospitalized, how many cases, how many people are tested, and that's all.
Recientemente descubrí los open data o los datos abiertos. Quería abrir un nuevo negocio y no sabía dónde ubicarlo. Entonces, investigando, encontré el proyecto Odeon, que ofrecía unas formaciones abiertas para todo el mundo que estuviese interesado en el uso de estos datos. En mi caso particular, me sirvió para encontrar el mejor municipio donde ubicar el negocio y también a la vez me permitió conocer el tipo de población que había en esa zona, ya que también hay estos datos disponibles, y a la vez, para encontrar el local, pude ver la frecuencia de paso de las calles y así determinar la mejor ubicación para el local.
As part of the Odeon project, apart from designing and launching a Greek data hub, we were also responsible for the creation of the open data platform for Odeon. The Odeon platform is the result of the capitalization of past MED projects integrated with EU platforms dealing with open data and linked open data. The collaboration between these platforms assures a constant flow of data in the three thematic areas of the project, which are creative and cultural industries, green growth, and blue growth, together with the national, regional, and governmental platforms. The platform hosts open data freely available by the publishers, training contents for awareness and capacity building activities, and instruments and tools able to assist SMEs and startups for their entrepreneurial initiatives to develop joint cooperation and innovation paths.
Veneto region is very proud to lead the Odeon project and give its contribution, adding more values to the public open data environment. Our digital strategy agenda promotes public data exploitation for transparency, accountability, and business reuse as well. This European cooperation project is also a good practice to promote networking and the collaboration between partners using the quadruple helix paradigm and model of open innovation.
So this was the video. Did you like it?
Yes. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Andrea. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to all of you, because it has been really a video, as you see, born from the cooperation of every one of you, every partner. We use the materials you sent to us, And like a cook, we prepare the dish with the ingredients you provided to us. Now we are at the end of this meeting and also at the end of the project. It is a very important moment, because I think our regions, our world is like during a storm. Now we must to keep on going, keep resilient, and keep the boat afloat until the storm ends. But after the storm, we all have to work hard for the real restart of our economies, and to bring confiance also to the society. Data are important and will be even more important to guide companies, policymakers, researchers to help and define the right and more convenient strategies for the sake of our world, of Europe, and our Mediterranean countries. So the hope and the wish which I am ending my intervention here is a great thank you to all of you, and the hope we will keep on working together and sharing ideas and proposals to exploit the data and to favor the creation and the adaptation in our territories of policies created and thought for a better society and for a growth which is really at measure of every person. Merry Christmas and a healthy and nice and successful New Year.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice period in front of you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.